I knew I was finished the moment Stephanie called my entire department a legacy overhead we can't sustain during optimization. Not even 5 minutes into the Monday morning all hands, and I already felt like I was watching my own professional funeral, just without the courtesy of flowers or a decent send-off. She was on screen from the Phoenix headquarters, that smug smile plastered across her face like someone who thought arrogance counted as leadership strategy. I'm Tom Bradley, by the way. 48 years old, been doing logistics engineering for 18 years, and I just watched this 34-year-old MBA graduate dismiss everything I'd built like yesterday's newspaper. Her hair was too perfect for someone supposedly running operations, and her voice had that slick corporate tone they teach in business school. Fake concern with a hint of threat. She clicked to a slide titled Operational Realignment for Future-Ready Teams, and announced we'd be transitioning to full collaborative workspace protocols starting next week. No discussion, no input, just, that's the new culture. People stared at their screens. I blinked hard because for 4 straight quarters, my supply chain optimization system had outperformed every projection they'd thrown at it. I'd built most of that from my garage workshop, wearing old jeans and drinking gas station coffee. But apparently results mattered less than fitting their new corporate image. Then came the real punch. All R&D prototypes and developmental frameworks, she said, must be uploaded to our centralized repository, complete source files, documentation, development logs. My office will be conducting comprehensive IP audits for consolidation purposes, effective immediately. That's when I leaned back in my chair and felt my jaw clench, because that policy wasn't about collaboration. It was about theft, clean, corporate, legally sanitized theft. And if you think that sounds paranoid, you've never watched an MBA with 18 months experience try to claim credit for 18 years of someone else's work. I unmuted calmly. Can I get clarification on whether this applies to projects developed outside company time? She smiled that shark smile. Tom, if you're developing solutions relevant to TechFlow Industries' operational roadmap, we assume it falls under our purview. Even if no company equipment, time, or personnel were involved, I asked. She laughed. Actually laughed. If you don't like the new operational standards, Tom, you can always step aside and make room for fresh thinking. The call went silent. Even Jerry from accounting, who usually multitasks through these meetings, stopped typing. And me? I smiled back. Thanks for the clarity, I said. I closed my laptop, unplugged my external monitor, and took a long, slow breath that tasted like betrayal and stale coffee. I walked out of that building like I was headed to lunch. No drama, no desk slamming, just a cardboard box in my arms and a plan. 11 months in the making. People, whispered. Linda from HR followed me to the elevator. Tom, what's happening? Where are you going? I looked at her, steady as concrete, moving forward. I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't even slam the exit door, though I wanted to leave a mark in the drywall for the maintenance crew to wonder about. Instead, I walked to my truck, popped the tailgate, and placed my box next to a pre-addressed envelope. General Counsel, TechFlow Industries. Stamped, sealed, ready to mail. Inside that envelope was documentation proving the FlowMax Pro system they were prepping for next year's product launch was mine. Not just philosophically, legally, see? I'd been building it outside my contract scope. Nights, weekends, my own equipment, my own money, with witnesses, with digital trails so clean a first-year law student could follow them to court. They thought I'd fold, that I'd slink away like a good team player with hurt feelings and a half-finished LinkedIn update. But I don't fold easy. I prepare quietly. And when someone tries to steal what I've built, I don't argue. I file paperwork. I didn't take much when I left, just what was actually mine. A coffee mug shaped like a wrench that Sarah had given me for Father's Day. 2 notebooks filled with sketches and sarcastic comments about corporate buzzwords. A small wooden plaque Linda had made that said, Problem Solver. I left the monitor, the ergonomic keyboard I'd bought with my own money, even the desk fan that actually worked. Let Stephanie keep it all. She'd need every advantage for the storm heading her way. No dramatic goodbye email, no sad walk around the office. Just me quietly dropping that envelope in the outgoing mail slot on the administrative floor. Standard white business envelope, sealed tighter than a bank vault. The label simply read, General Counsel. That's all. But what was inside was the fuse to a legal bomb. Linda caught up to me at the front entrance, looking confused and worried. "Are you really leaving?" I looked at her, not unkindly. "Stay alert," I said. "This is going to get interesting." She started to ask another question, then stopped. I could see it in her eyes. Confusion, maybe a little hope. She wasn't stupid. She'd watched how things shifted since Stephanie arrived 18 months ago. Seen how credit got redistributed, how team leads got reassigned, how the Friday pizza budget somehow got diverted to strategic planning consultations. Linda had potential, but she still believed the system could be fixed from inside. I didn't. Not anymore. The elevator opened. I stepped in. She stayed behind, chewing her lip like maybe she was being abandoned. The doors closed before either of us could say anything else. Outside, the Arizona sun was blazing. The parking lot smelled like hot asphalt and corporate decay. I opened my tailgate, placed the box next to my backup envelope. Yeah, I had another one ready because preparation isn't paranoia when you've seen this game before. I didn't drive home. Went straight to Desert Ridge Business Center, a co-working space sandwiched between a tax office and a cell phone repair shop that looked like it specialized in disappointment. Wasn't glamorous, but it had what I needed: anonymity and a notary named Phil, who didn't ask questions as long as the paperwork was clean and the coffee was hot. Phil greeted me with a nod, slid the notarization forms across his glass desk, and said, "Looks like someone's having an important day." "Let's make it official," I replied. 3 signature verifications, 2 timestamp confirmations, 1 USB drive upload into the encrypted filing system we'd arranged last month. Phil locked everything in a secure case like he was handling plutonium. Technically he was, because what I just filed were 3 provisional patent declarations: predictive supply chain routing, automated bottleneck resolution, and something I called the silent protocol. An invisible back-end system that would have made TechFlow Industries' optimization project the crown jewel of their next product cycle. Would have. Because now those designs were mine, legally and tactically. The documentation trail was longer than a CVS receipt, and twice as detailed. I'd built everything on my own time, my own equipment, my own dime. The key part? Entirely outside the scope of my TechFlow Industries contract. I'd even used open source foundation code and kept detailed logs showing progression from napkin sketch to working prototype. When I talked through concepts out loud, I did it at local engineering meetups or with friends unrelated to work. Witnesses, timestamps, backup data, all documented. Then there was the cherry on top, the IP clause Stephanie had streamlined during her first month, which actually loosened their claims over pre-existing intellectual property developed by employees outside active contract obligations. In her rush to consolidate control, she'd left a crack in the legal wall. I just widened it. As I left the business center, my phone buzzed. Message from Linda. "Stephanie just asked if you'd gone to lunch." I didn't reply. Drove to Tempe Town Lake, parked under a tree, and watched ducks fight over a pretzel like it was stock options. I wasn't angry anymore. I was surgical. 18 years of quiet contributions, of fixing other people's code, making bad ideas workable, saving executives from their own incompetence. I'd been invisible for too long. Now I was the ghost in their machine, and soon they'd realize the system they relied on had just walked out the door. The first version of my algorithm was sketched on a napkin at a diner in Scottsdale, next to a half-eaten stack of pancakes and a waitress named Beth, who kept refilling my coffee without asking. It wasn't elegant, just loops and decision trees scribbled in blue ink. But it was the moment I stopped being an employee and started being something else. A builder who was done being robbed. That was 11 months before Stephanie ever set foot in TechFlow Industries. 11 months before she started erasing my name from presentations and pretending collaborative ideation meant stealing credit from the quiet ones. I hadn't started building out of spite. I'd started because I saw the writing on the wall. The company wanted speed, not precision, hype, not substance. My proposal for a predictive routing engine that adjusted real time based on historical patterns and supply disruptions. Too complex, they said. Too granular for sales to understand. So they shelved it. I didn't. I went home, opened my personal laptop. Different machine, different network, no TechFlow Industries fingerprints, and started building. line by line, logic loop by logic loop. I created something that worked quietly, cleanly, legally. Every code commit had timestamps. Every backup uploaded to encrypted storage. I even emailed progress summaries to myself weekly using a personal account registered under a name variation from my college days. Once a month, I met with Carlos Rivera, an old engineering buddy now teaching at community college, to walk through developments. He signed off as third-party witness on progress forms I kept notarized. Paranoid? Maybe. But in this business, paranoia is just experience wearing work boots. 6 months in, the routing system wasn't theory anymore. It was functioning reality. I tested it against mock data from public shipping databases. Results were so efficient, they made TechFlow Industries' existing framework look like a kid playing with blocks blindfolded. So, I scheduled a meeting with Patricia Stone, a no-nonsense IP attorney who used to work with aerospace contractors and looked like she'd fought patent trolls before breakfast and won. I laid out everything: logs, backups, timestamps, off-site development proof, even video of me coding core modules with date watermarks and local radio playing in background. Patricia didn't blink. "These are yours," she said. No question. She drafted the filings. 3 separate provisional patent applications, the routing optimization engine, fallback redundancy logic, triggered by delivery anomalies, and dynamic resource balancing. I called silent protocol because it moved data so quietly even system admins would miss it. Filed under my name, my personal name, no corporate ties, no ambiguous language that might let TechFlow Industries sneak through back doors. Patricia triple-checked every clause. Just to be sure, we time-stamped filings through an independent archival network. Legal overkill maybe, but emotionally satisfying. I didn't tell anyone at work. Why would I? It wasn't for them. Then Stephanie arrived like a tornado in a boardroom full of paper airplanes, thinking MBA credentials made her untouchable. She announced TechFlow Industries would soon launch a revolutionary supply chain intelligence suite, and I nearly choked on my sandwich. They were using my foundation, not inspired by it, built on it. What they didn't know, what nobody in that tower of recycled buzzwords and inflated egos knew, was that the moment they compiled the demo version, they'd stepped on a legal landmine, because every core dependency in that code, every logic sequence, every decision tree that made it intelligent, was now protected by law. Not because I was vengeful, because I'd lived through enough corporate betrayals to know silence only protects the thief. So I stopped being silent. I became precise, and precision cuts deeper than anger ever could. They called it Project Flowmax, which made me want to gag. As if slapping a dramatic name on half-understood algorithms could turn duct tape into a Ferrari. Stephanie stood at the quarterly review that Friday and declared with breathless enthusiasm, "We'll be unveiling Flowmax at the Southwest Logistics Summit in 2 weeks. This is our breakthrough moment." I watched the recording later. Someone had discreetly shared it with the caption, "Guess who thinks she invented the wheel?" Flowmax was supposed to be revolutionary, next-generation supply chain intelligence that would predict disruptions, self-heal system failures, optimize entire networks on the fly. Basically what I'd been building, except now duct taped together by a team that didn't know which parts I'd intentionally left undocumented. Here's the truth about real innovation. Not everything lives in code repositories. Sometimes the most crucial pieces live in your head, in shorthand notes on legal pads, in 5-line scripts you never commit, because you know exactly how they'll be stolen. Stephanie didn't know that. Or maybe she did and just didn't care. The summit was 2 weeks away. Her team started scrambling. Late nights, frantic Slack threads, desperate requests for system credentials nobody could locate because I had them memorized, not saved. One junior developer, Kevin, sweet kid who used to ask me to review his code comments, flagged something weird the second Friday of the sprint. "This routing module," he posted, "has origin stamps predating the Flowmax repository by 4 months. Looks like it was forked from an external sandbox before our integration protocols even existed." Silence. Then Kevin followed up. "Should I rebuild from scratch to be safe?" Stephanie's reply came 18 minutes later. "We're under deadline. Keep moving." Deadlines over details. Always. Kevin messaged a mutual friend 2 days later, quietly asking if anyone had seen original documentation. He said half the function calls weren't returning expected outputs, and some back-end balancing protocols were just empty shells. Placeholders meant to be filled later. Except, I hadn't left placeholders. I'd removed the real logic and replaced it with stub functions before leaving, not maliciously, just as a safeguard, like locking your front door when your boss hints they might borrow your personal tools. Meanwhile, internal communications kept pumping out cheerful messages. Flowmax, bold, brilliant, built for tomorrow. They scheduled, practice presentations. Marketing drafted taglines about next-level optimization. Someone even ordered custom badges with the Flowmax logo and a QR code that didn't link anywhere yet. Under the surface, the codebase was bleeding. Automated tests failed. Performance simulations collapsed under stress loads. They tried reassigning tasks to contractors, but nobody could reverse engineer the logic engine without hitting conflicts. Then came the whisper. Just one whisper. A message forwarded anonymously from someone in the data team. Hey, wasn't this part of Tom's sandbox project? Thought it was independent development. Nobody said it publicly. Not yet. But doubt had been planted. Stephanie kept smiling, standing in meetings talking about convergence phases and optimization synergies, like someone who'd memorized a business dictionary and mistook it for blueprints. She brushed off concerns with dismissive waves, claiming, "This is how innovation feels, messy but magical." It didn't feel magical. It felt like a countdown timer, one failed test at a time. Outside the building, nobody knew. Summit organizers posted about TechFlow Industries' upcoming reveal, like it was the second coming of sliced bread. Investors started circling. Recruiters began monitoring LinkedIn activity. Everyone wanted in. The one person who could have told them the truth had left with a smile and a sealed envelope. The legal explosion started with a phone call nobody took seriously. Someone in general counsel forwarded it to a paralegal with the subject line, "Patent issue. Can someone look?" The cease and desist arrived on TechFlow Industries' letterhead, but not theirs. Mine. It landed in the GC's inbox at 7:42 a.m. on a Monday, filed by Patricia Stone with all the warmth of a surgical strike. Subject line, "Immediate cessation of infringing activity. Patent interference notice. Case Recedivan 749B." 6 pages, single-spaced, citing specific Flowmax components that directly overlapped with provisional filings under my name. Patricia had included annotated screenshots of GitHub commits and timestamp comparisons with my notarized submissions. It wasn't vague, it wasn't a warning shot. It was legal carpet bombing. By 10 a.m., Stephanie had been pulled into a conference room with 2 attorneys and a project liaison. I'm told she laughed, actually laughed, and said, "He's bluffing. Provisional patents don't mean anything until they're finalized." Right about then, the second letter arrived from the United States Patent and Trademark Office, confirming that 3 provisional patents filed under Thomas A. Bradley had been formally logged and accepted as of 6 weeks prior. Patent interference statutes were now active under Title 35. Any continued use, demonstration, or marketing of protected concepts would constitute willful infringement. That word willful mattered. It's legal dynamite, meant they couldn't play ignorance anymore, meant damages could triple. The general counsel's tone shifted, from eye rolls to stone-cold silence. Emails flew like confetti in a hurricane. The CTO accidentally copied half the engineering team on a message saying, "What the hell do you mean we can't use our own code?" The real panic hit when they traced Flowmax's back-end architecture and realized it wasn't just inspired by my routing system. It depended on it. The logic trees, real-time balancing triggers, fault detection loops, they weren't similar. They were identical. Because they were mine. Stephanie doubled down, stormed into an emergency meeting and declared, "This is a scare tactic. We're not pulling anything. The summit is in 10 days. We've booked the venue. Marketing's involved. He won't tank his own career over technicalities." Oh, Stephanie, you thought it was a game. But I wasn't bluffing. I wasn't emotional. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was strategic, and I'd just activated the kill switch. Over 48 hours, quiet war erupted inside TechFlow Industries. Legal pulled engineering files. Product halted demo prep. The COO demanded full Flowmax audit. 2 contractors quit, saying they didn't want involvement in IP lawsuits. Someone, probably Kevin, leaked parts of the cease and desist to a tech forum. Next morning's headline: ex-engineer hits former employer with patent interference warning, summit demo in jeopardy. It hadn't gone fully public yet, but the story was breathing, circulating. Inside TechFlow Industries, the walls were creaking because the man they'd pushed out wasn't just making noise. He'd already built the case. Now he was watching them walk into it. The Southwest Logistics Summit smelled like burnt coffee and desperation. Stephanie arrived at the Phoenix Convention Center, wearing confidence like expensive armor and heels that clicked like countdown timers. Her team, 3 engineers, 2 marketers, 1 intern named Ashley, trailed behind like ducklings following a freight train. They wheeled in branded banners, promotional materials, demo equipment preloaded with Flomax. Booth 207 was theirs, center row, directly across from 2 competitors already posting teasers about predictive optimization. Same field Flomax was supposedly revolutionizing. The cease and desist, ignored. Provisional patent confirmation, brushed aside. Internal emails begging caution, dismissed. Because Stephanie had a mantra: provisional patents are just placeholders. She said it in the hotel elevator, during booth setup, twice while getting mic'd for the live stream panel where she'd debut Flomax before investors, journalists, and half the Southwest logistics community. Inside the TechFlow Industries booth, tension could have cut steel. Demo laptop connected to secondary monitor. 2 techs hovering, doing last-minute checks, trying not to sweat through polo shirts. Kevin looked like he hadn't slept in days. Code had been partially rewritten in panic. Logic functions scrambled to avoid triggering conflicts with my filings. It was like trying to repair a dam with them wet napkins. "Everything ready?" Stephanie asked, smiling too wide, voice pitched too high. 1 contractor gave thumbs up without eye contact. Lights dimmed for product showcase. Corporate MC introduced Stephanie as one of logistics innovation's most forward-thinking voices. Even the camera operator looked confused. She walked to the podium, delivered her pitch. Slick presentation full of buzzwords and vague promises. She gestured toward the screen. "Now we'll show you how Flomax is changing the game. Live." Audience applauded. Lights focused on the screen. For about 20 seconds, it worked. Map loaded. Simulated shipments began auto-routing. Numbers danced. Routes optimized. Applause started building. Then the engine collapsed. Screen froze. Red warning popped up. Unhandled exception. Null logic route reference. Kevin lunged toward the laptop, fingers flying across keyboard. Too late. Simulation spiraled. Shipment data fields turned to zeros. Dynamic routing engine crashed. Fallback logic kicked in and failed because the fallback logic was never there. It had never been there because I'd removed it months ago. 1 engineer muttered, "Why is the balancing script empty?" Then, loud enough for 3 rows to hear, a contractor stepped forward. "We couldn't legally use the original code. It's flagged for IP conflict." Dead silence. On stage, Stephanie froze. She tried to speak, cleared her throat, gestured at the screen like finger wiggling might fix the crash. Someone behind the booth whispered into her earpiece, "We can't go live with this." She couldn't respond. Her eyes darted across the audience. Investors scribbling notes, competitors smirking, tech journalist typing on his tablet. Full minute passed before she finally said, voice cracking slightly, "Looks like we're experiencing technical difficulties." Polite applause, the kind you give when someone forgets lines in a community theater production. Backstage, TechFlow Industries team scrambled to disconnect equipment. Kevin yanked HDMI cables like they'd personally betrayed him. The intern cried in a bathroom stall 20 minutes later, overheard whispering, "I think I just watched a career implode." Stephanie paced tight circles, staring at her phone like the screen might offer salvation. It didn't. Her confidence was cracking. The armor, polish, ego, denial was peeling because she hadn't just ignored warnings. She'd built her entire professional relaunch on stolen bones. And now, those bones were crumbling. Meanwhile, 2 weeks later, the debrief room was cold in that sterile corporate way. Windowless, fluorescent, beige walls pretending sophistication. The kind of room where careers end not in flames, but in carefully worded memos and HR disclaimers. Stephanie sat at the center, flanked by the COO and 2 board members who'd flown in after the summit disaster. her phone face down, her voice, for the first time since arriving at TechFlow Industries, absent of confidence. They didn't offer her coffee. The COO opened with forced throat clearing and mumbled something about navigating unexpected friction. Nobody laughed. Kevin wasn't invited. Neither were the engineers. This was no longer about innovation or product cycles. This was about liability. 3 minutes in, the door opened. Patricia Stone walked in like a storm in tailored black, straight to the head of the table. She slid a thick manila envelope in front of General Counsel and said, calm as sunrise, "Tom Bradley sends his regards." GC looked to the board for guidance. The older member with wire-rimmed glasses gave a tiny nod. Patricia stepped back, arms crossed. First document, printed spreadsheet of logs, commits, backup sync reports. Every line of code Stephanie claimed belonged to Flomax had been written months earlier by me, on equipment registered to my name, outside TechFlow Industries network. Second, notarized affidavit from Carlos Rivera, my witness, dated, stamped, clear. Third, USB drive labeled audio, March 15th. Meeting recording. GC plugged it into her laptop, pressed play. There it was. Stephanie's voice, crisp and undeniable. "If you don't like the new operational standards, Tom, you can always step aside and make room for fresh thinking." Beat. "You'll adapt. Honestly, your methods are probably too granular for Flomax anyway." Pause. Chuckle. "Once it's in our system, it's company property. That's how development works." Room went still. Patricia let the silence marinate. Then, because Mr. Bradley left TechFlow Industries before project submission, because his work was done independently with no company resources or collaboration, and because he retained third-party witnesses and documented his development trail meticulously, TechFlow Industries holds no claim, no rebuttal. GC closed the laptop slowly. The older board member turned to Stephanie, voice low but cutting. "Did you verify any of this before announcing Flomax?" Stephanie opened her mouth. Nothing emerged. Patricia reached into her bag, handed GC a single-page summary. Legal statement of acknowledgement and requested retraction. TechFlow Industries agreement to cease all use of disputed systems. Refrain from Flomax references in marketing materials. Release public clarification. Blank signature line, waiting. GC didn't ask questions, just placed the page before the board. Nobody defended Stephanie, nobody argued. They stared because truth wasn't fuzzy anymore. It was filed, time-stamped, recorded. They'd been caught by a man they thought was dispensable, a man who didn't fight with emails or meetings or escalations, a man who said, "Thanks for the clarity," and left. Then came back with legal precision tucked in an envelope. The board convened the next morning at 9 a.m. sharp. Stephanie's name wasn't on the invite. Her office door stayed shut, chair conspicuously empty, Outlook calendar dark. She was still in the building, sitting somewhere in HR with a lawyer and coffee she wasn't drinking. But upstairs, decisions were happening. First was simple. Flomax was dead. Not rebranded, not shelved. Dead. Unanimous vote. Too many eyes now. Investors, journalists, competitors waiting to pounce. Second decision came with fewer words. Motion to revoke all system access associated with VP Stephanie Winters, effective immediately. The badge was heavier than expected, not physically, symbolically. Clean silver rectangle with Apex Logistics Solutions etched in bottom corner, and my name above, Thomas A. Bradley, Chief Innovation Officer. For first time in 18 years, I walked into workplace that wanted me because of what I'd built, not despite it. They'd courted me after the article dropped, made clear they wanted my system, my discipline, my foresight. Sarah texted that evening. "Dad, saw the news article. You're famous. Also, does this mean college is covered?" I smiled, typing back, "College is covered. And yes, sometimes the good guys win." They finally realized I was the product. And me? I was finally where people understood that from day one.